Hey everyone, David C. Anderson here coming at you from the Knife Center, and I'm here today because the lovely Eric Glesser is here from Spyderco. They just released their latest reveal of knives, reveal number 6, and I think there's a lot of people that are looking forward to getting their hands on these knives, myself included. But they're not out yet, so that's why we're here to talk to you, sir. You get to tell us firsthand about all the cool new steel. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Hope you're doing well out there too. Thanks for taking the time to go through some of these knives with me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. We love having you here, as you know. Well, I'll just kind of let you kind of lead the show. I'll throw some questions at you maybe as we go, but what would you like to talk about first?
I was going to talk about what was on the cover of our real reveal. It was the LC 200 Pacific, the Pacific 2. So I'll just jump in with these and start rolling through the pages.
Let's do it.
This is going to be a salt series, so we're going for a highly corrosive resistant steel and all components in the knife. So this features LC200N. One of the things you're going to get with the LC200N salt series is full flat grinds. If you like hollow grinds, the H1 salt series is very nice. The hollow grinds are clean on that and nice and thin at the bevel. But this will bring the full flat all the way up into a LC200N blade. Very good for plain edge retention as well. The bright green that we're using on these, that's different from the yellow we're using on the salts, is meant to be bright as far as when you're going down through atmospheres. There are certain colors like oranges and yellows and bright greens that as you go down through the atmosphere, the deeper atmospheres in the ocean or in diving, they start to other colors lose their hues. And so these ones tend to stay brighter longer, and that's why we went with a bright green. If for those that do know the bright greens, it's very similar to the USN green that we used back on some of our sprints. That's the Usual Suspects network forum. So shout out to those guys.
Oh yeah.
It's a brilliant bright green, and we're hoping that it'll catch some attention. So it's very similar to that if you own something like that.
Well, I think the green color is cool too, even for EDC. I mean, we've seen, you can't throw a rock around here and over there probably too without hitting a black knife. So it's nice to see some different stuff out there. And I love a good toxic green like that.
Yeah, when you yeah, Spyderco does colors well. Not
Yeah.
everybody gets to play with the colors quite as well as we do. And then we're going to be doing it across the line. We'll be launching. I only have the H1 Rescue on me because I didn't have the green sample with me. But I'm just showing the Rescue as an example. But everything that we're doing in H1 will also be doing in LC200N as an offering. And like all the Enduras and Delicas and Pacifics and Atlantics, you get those nice features, the bidirectional, these ones have threads that are inserted into the scales. They have black hardware, 4-directional clips, secure locks, good self closes, all the qualities you look for in all the Spydercos that we make. But across the board, we're going towards green salts and LC200N.
I love that. I mean, I love that steel. I carry a Spidey Chef as part of my EDC rotation. The edge retention's great. The toughness at the edge is really good, I've found too. And I love that that Pacific Salt too, like that. I like that you went with the full flat grind there, because even though the handles aren't interchangeable, it's the Endura handle essentially.
It is essentially, except for the Endura handle has the liners that are nested.
Right.
So it's a little bit thinner and heavier, where this is going to be a little bit thicker and lighter. Some people like the heft and the weight. It's fun to put them both in the hand. And like you were talking about, it is a fairly tough steel, and it gets super sharp. That initial cut on LC200N is a beautiful initial cut.
Yeah.
It's a fun steel to work with and continue to develop.
I said that's the quote unquote Endura that I'd buy right now if I were putting my money down.
Yeah, it's a nice one. It'll go through just about anything.
Very cool. What's next?
I guess staying on that same path, I'm going to show the K390. So this is the K390 Endura 4. This will have the liners. And actually, now that I wonder if I can show this on the screen, you can kind of see they're a different thickness there. So this is actually a little bit more in weight than this one. So some people will like that as far as the thin, but this will give you that K390, very hard steel. It's a non-stainless, so it'll get a patina on it. But it's a full flat grind. We're going to make this in across the board as well, the whole family, if you will.
Yeah.
So you'll see the Police 4, which is also in the reveal. Again, I only have the black VG10 version on me. But we're going to go across the board with the K390 in this blue series.
And also one of the first new variants of the Endela will be joining that list as well, correct?
Yep. The Endela is coming on into the family.
Great.
It's one of the newest additions.
I like that knife too. One of the things I've kind of said about it is the Endura and the Delica have this great history behind them, but they were kind of incepted in an earlier time. The size of the Endela is like the modern knife size with that kind of 3.4 to 3.5 inch blade. It's just like, that's the size these days.
Yeah, time and knives are always evolving. I think I've mentioned this before, but when I was a kid, Enduras, Delicas, or Enduras, police models, those were normal size knives. And as time has gone on, they look a little large. So in this day and age, the Endela is a near perfect size. It's right in the middle.
Absolutely.
Just right, the Goldilocks area.
Yeah, that Goldilocks area. And I think I like the way you put it. Last time we talked, we were looking at some of this K390 and the lightweight handle. And I've kind of taken the way you've described it into my own way of describing it when I'm talking to our viewers here. You've got, the heart of a supercar in the chassis of an economy car. It's great.
Yeah, we keeping these with the lightweights and through Japan on highly evolved, highly efficient models that we've been making for a long time. You're going to feel safe and secure with the model. You know that it's got a reputation. It'll be there like it always has been. But yet it's giving you these new materials, which just soups everything up. You're adding superchargers and everything else.
It's fantastic.
Yeah. So yeah, those are fun models. They're an enjoyment for me to carry. They really are.
Now I'm noticing a trend. We've got a lot of lightweight stuff, a lot of FRN in this particular reveal.
Yeah, a lot of CQI, constant quality improvement, a lot of new materials, a lot of lightweights, like you mentioned. We're very confident in our lightweights. We've been making lightweights now for over 30 years. We feel like we get better and better at it all the time. And so, yeah, you're going to continue to see lightweights. The lightweight Tenacious, I look at a knife like this, and if you buy G10 in China, which this knife is made in China, as many people know, G10 is made for circuit boards and other things. And so it's readily available in places like China. So when you go to a lightweight model, you're really not reducing the cost that much. We work with G10 so much out there, and it's such a low cost that when you go to a lightweight, you tool up and you start making the component, and it's really not that much cheaper than G10, at least for China.
Mm-hmm.
In America, those costs are a little bit different. And so when you get something like the lightweight Tenacious, it may not be a lot less expensive than the G10 version, but it's going to give you a great grip. The lightweight is incredibly resilient. It's going to give you some of those bright colors, that fantastically low weight. And so, with the lightweight, you're going to get this blue with an S35 VN. The factory we make the Tenacious in, we've been working with for decades. They do their own heat treat. They really know their stuff. And we're very confident in the S35 VN coming out of this facility. I know that you've heard me say things like this before, but oftentimes you'll buy an S30V knife from us or a similar steel from us and a competitor. And ours can oftentimes outperform our competitor because of our heat treats, our bevels, our processing, our design, our really knowing what we're doing. And so when it comes to CPM S35 VN knives out of China, I think the Tenacious will run the race as good as any of them, particularly with the lightweight. Now we can expand into colors and get the textures and everything else. So I believe it's a great addition and growth to the lightweight Tenacious, to the value folders. The Tenacious still has the open back construction.
Oh, it's always been a great design. Yeah,
the good stuff. Sorry, I went off on it.
Oh no, it's quite all right. But, and to your point with the steels and heat treats too, like even if the heat treat between you and yours and a competitor were absolutely equal, so much of it comes down, as you mentioned, to the geometries. And a full flat ground Spyderco blade slices, pretty much better than most everyone else out there because you guys pay attention to that before the aesthetics almost. Like you want it to perform.
Even the edge itself has to be the right edge angle and everything else, And so, yeah, you're very right. A lot of people don't know this, but even on our HCR 13 MOV value folders like the Tenacious, we're going sub-zero on those heat treats. You know, that gets that extra half point. So we take everything seriously.
Very nice. I'm looking forward to that knife. I think that's a great addition.
Yeah, I've enjoyed carrying that.
Excellent.
Ready to go on?
Let's do it.
All right. This is the Sage. This one's coming in Maxamet. And so we're excited to get Maxamet out into Taiwan, working with the Sage series and some of the other knives out there. It's going to come in a gray G10, just like the Maxamet that's being made in the U.S. But like, you know, here in the U.S., we have a very large degree of confidence in the heat treat and the grinding and the skill and ability. And, you know, tests have shown that the Maxamet coming out of Taiwan is a beautifully done. So this is a 3-inch knife in G10 with, you know, screw together construction, open back, deep pocket wire clip, coming in Maxamet. It's a great carry piece. It's an absolute performer.
Well, and it's good to see another Sage back in the lineup too.
Yeah. We like to continue the evolution of the Sage. Usually it's always a new lock. And we're continuing to work on some new Sages, but there's some adversity to overcome. And so in the meantime, we're going to have some variations to some of the existing Sages. And some people know that 5% of the proceeds of our sales on these knives goes to fight for Alzheimer's. That's where part of the name comes from too. So that's still a fight that Spyderco's been in for a long time, and we continue to try to support the fight for Alzheimer's and curing that awful disease.
And with a great design too. You're getting a great knife and working for a good cause as well.
Yeah. I'm excited about this. It's been a fun carry too.
I think I'm even more excited by the other knife that was on that page in the reveal book, the Chaparral.
Yeah, the burled or Birdseye, not burled, Birdseye. But yeah, this is gorgeous. You guys would know woods. I mean, I really appreciate that pack of wood. And since then, you know, we've gained a little bit more confidence in wood. You know, wood is a scary thing to go into. If they start to crack or you don't get the performance, it could really cause a lot of problems. And so we've been shy about it, but we're gaining more confidence and skill and ability in our woods. And so this Birdseye is really thin. You get that on the Chaparral. It's a thin backlock with a deep pocket wire clip, beautiful action, great ergonomics. If you're looking for a gents knife,
oh yeah,
you know, the Chaparral's tough to beat, especially in the Birdseye. This is a beautiful piece.
And I always like how, again, coming back to edge geometries, how thin the blades on the Chaparrals usually are.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of XHP too. CTS XHP, built by Carpenter. Basically, they took a D2, which is a renowned steel in the knife industry. It's a great tool steel. They upped the carbon so that chrome, so it's a stainless. So I essentially look at it as a powdered stainless D2. It's just been a great combination. We're so happy to continue to bring some of the CTS XHP to the market. And with these thin bevels and thin blade stock, this is a fun slicer. It performs quite well.
And you're right. Like as soon as I saw that, I'm thinking, that might be my next gentleman's knife. I don't know. It's going to be hard to displace some of my favorites, but it's a good contender, I must say.
Yeah, it's a beautiful combination, a poem in its own.
Very nice, very nice. What's next?
I want to keep going?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. I like going on to the Ethnic series. The Ethnic series is a series of knives that Spyderco has done for well over a decade. We take knives from around the world that have been developed by a culture and try to modernize it into a modern performing folder with locks and clips and what you look for today in a daily carry. And so this is an Italian piece. We call it the patadesse. As I recall, they call them Sardinian knives, and they come from Sardinia, but they have this kind of a straighter back with a curved up sweep and a tip. And it's you'll really only see most of these blades there. It's highly developed. It's a great slicer, a great carrier with the blade stock and the full flats. Again, these knives are just a great pleasure to carry. The handle looks a bit squared out, but it fits the hand so well. It's got a great guard up there to keep you from sliding up on them. Most of the Italian knives are slip joints, so we added a a liner lock to this with a deep pocket wire clip and rounded G10, and then made by the Italians.
You gotta love it.
An M390. And so we did it the right way. That's one thing you get from Spyderco is all that variation. Everything from a Chinese Tenacious to a beautiful Italian ethnic piece.
Oh yeah, and it's such a cool blade shape. I think I read that. I think a lot of it comes from their tradition of fishing the sea. That's the type of blade that is really good for processing those their catches, so to speak.
Yeah, I'm sure you have more history on that than me, but as somebody who's cleaned a few fish and worked with fish, this is a beautiful shape for that.
Yeah, I mean, you got plenty of belly for slicing, but with that super fine tip,
Yeah.
you could get into a lot of narrow nooks and crannies, so to speak.
And if you're in the office for envelopes and paper or even cutting at the dinner table, this blade shape has just shown so much beauty to it. And making a grind that really reaches out and has that thin tip isn't easy. So I have to give the Italians a lot of credit in their bevels and execution of this blade shape.
For sure. Very nice. Love
Yeah,
it.
beautiful piece. I guess I'm hopping around here. I'm going to get into some little knives, okay?
Yeah, great.
All right. I got the Wharncliffe Manbug. We're going to make this in satin and black. This one was hand ground. So if it looks a little off, and I'm sure I'm not on the camera that often properly, but it was hand ground. In production, we think it'll be a little bit cleaner. The person who ground it's actually here.
Is he off in the corner just like, oh no, why are you talking about it?
He's been with us a long time. He's one of our longtime employees. He does all of our prototype grinding. I have to give a shout out. We have some of the best custom guys around here that nobody even knows they exist. So yeah, he ground this one out for us. It is the Manbug. You're going to notice that it fits the hand, great. When you get under 2 inches and you're trying to fit the hand, that gets pretty tough. And so the Manbug does an excellent job of that. It's got a larger hole for getting a better purchase on it, a little bit thicker blade stock than you would on the Ladybug. So the larger hole and thicker blade stock than the Ladybug. But it's a nice addition to Wharncliffe's. If you're looking for a little Wharncliffe, the Manbug Wharncliffe's will be nice. Usually I can get it to close with one hand, but maybe it's hand ground. That's why.
Maybe it's because it's hand ground. That's why you can't do it.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a tight, lightweight little performance package.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be able to get some aggressive cutting out of that with that type of blade shape, even though it is only that tiny size.
And all this jimping that we have in through here and the back of the handle and that large lanyard and the bidirectional texturing grips the hand back. And with the buoy dent here, you're really not going to close it on you. It's very safe for use. And so,
cool.
Yeah, great package. And then to take it little knives further, we have the Bug, the HoneyBee, and the Grasshopper, all in all black.
Now I've got the tiny silver one of those, and I don't know if I've ever actually cut anything with it, but I love it.
Yeah, these are beautiful knives. I've been doing knives my whole life, as many people know, and stainless knives that you don't see the rivets and you don't see the screws. It's really, the older I get, the more it's a lost art form. You really have to be skilled in your manufacturing ability to be able to do it. And I really give, the Chinese factory we work with a lot of credit on their ability to do that. We've been working with these guys as well for, damn near a couple decades. The same guys own it, and they've been doing it a long time, and they're really good at their stainless knives. And in the all black package, if you're looking just to drop a little stainless knife into your pants, like maybe a silk slacks, these disappear and they don't become offensive if you want to pull it out and use it for cutting a little bag or doing anything without anybody really noticing that you're there. It's a nice, subtle little piece.
Yeah, for sure.
Brings a lot of value in the cost too. So, all right. Any questions on these?
Not on those guys. I'm looking through. I've got my book here, so I've got my cheat sheet. We've got a couple fancier knives, couple restricted knives, so to speak. We also got some pink knives that I don't think we've mentioned yet.
Yep, the pink knife I don't have on me. I think that anybody that's purchased a pink knife from us and our colored knives like the greens will know that we want a really bright, vibrant green or pink. And so it is, again, it's a bright, vibrant pink. With the Delica, you're going to get all the attributes that we talked about earlier, the bi-directional, the screw together constructions, the reliability of the mid backlock. I mean, everything that Spyderco does with their Delica and Endura and the CQI, but you're going to get it in the bright pink package. And a percentage of the sales goes to pink heels. So that's always important to us.
And if that's not enough for you, first time these knives have seen an S30V blade, is that correct?
Yeah, it's a nice upgrade. You know, bringing the American powdered metals into Japan has been fun. And like we were talking about earlier, if we can get these into lightweights, we can get a little bit more competitive horsepower at those lower costs.
Very nice.
And so, yeah, excited to continue to work with pink knives, get some knives out to the causes that we need to, like pink heels, and help support that and bring a beautiful knife to the market.
Very cool. All right, let's talk about these restricted knives.
All right. I'm excited about the Smallfly too. This was one of my designs. That's probably one of the reasons I get excited about it. People that have been around me a long time know I'm a butterfly fan. I've been playing with these things since I was a little kid. And so I'll go through some of the attributes of this one. One of the things I'm excited about is the new blade shape. If you had the old one, it really didn't perform as well as we would like as a performance-based company. So this full flat drop point with the way your hand's going to be able to grip it, it's going to be a great slicer. It's nice bevels and thicknesses for both penetrating and slicing. And so I'm excited about the new blade shape. And then it has handles that are very similar to what we had before. What we did is we elongated the handle as much as we could, trying to push the weight towards the end. And so we have these back spacers that are at the end, and you'll notice it's open construction through here, so that we start to carry that weight towards the end of the handle, and then it expands. We used round holes so that you could use the holes to manipulate the butterfly, much like the latch drop of many other models. And because of its size, you know, you can use these holes to do new types of tricks that you couldn't otherwise maybe do. And so it does give us, I think, a little bit of fun with an old concept. When you draw it, I have to get up here. I think I'm in camera.
Yep, we can see
the
it.
holes kind of stick out, and you can pull it out, squeeze, grab that hole in front, and use the holes. And so its draw is very convenient. That's one of the things that we're excited about the flies with. And so, yeah.
Well, it's good to see some consideration paid to not just the flipping performance, but the actual usability as well. So I think some companies tend to overlook that now and then.
You know, as a restricted item, I have to say, too, some of these are used as almost a nunchuck. So they use them to bat with. And that's one of the reasons it's shaped the way it is. It has those little flanges out there. Or they'll use them when it's even closed to maybe grab or pinch a pressure point. And so you'll notice it has nice little points here and around the back and different areas that you could really grab and manipulate with. The clip is removable and goes in 4 different positions, because I know there's a lot of people that have different opinions on clips. And the latch is also removable or flippable. So you could really manipulate any way you want that clip or latch, or lose it altogether.
And this one being made in the USA, unlike some of the previous butterflies in your lineup, most of us here in the States might actually be able to get one.
Yeah, I hope so. You know, if you're into this type of product and you're in an area that they're welcome, I certainly encourage it. It's a fun piece.
All right. I think that brings us to our final piece, unless you have any surprises over there for me.
Oh, no. No, it's the final knife. I was going to mention we have a CBN and a new zipper pouch. That's just constant quality improvement. But let's get into this one. So this one is the Autonomy, the Autonomy 2. I'm really excited about this. It stemmed from a Coast Guard project we did with the Coast Guard years back. What they were looking for is an automatic that was corrosive resistant, that they could put in their pocket, not worry about just seizing up and failing on them when they really needed it. And over time, we've continued to develop the knife itself. So this one's coming in a leaf-shaped blade. One of the things we got through developing with the Coast Guard was a a large cap here that we could remove and get inside if we needed to work on it. But it brings a thinner package with a lot of spring. You know, if you buy an automatic from us, we want that thing to jump open. We don't want it to slowly, you know, drag open. It's got a large button, so if you're wearing gloves or something, it's easy to find the button. Same with the safety. If you need to find the thing, you're not looking around for it. If you're looking if you're in the dark or bobbing around, it's got a clip that's got a wide stance or a wide mount with a large lanyard. And it's an hourglass, so the clip is really sturdy. It's really not going anywhere. With the open back construction on the button, if any debris gets in the button area, it just tends to wash out through the open backs and the open side construction. You know, in the world of automatics, I really believe it's pushing the limits of autos, and it's one of the best in the world today. Even the way the edge goes all the way back as far as we can to that handle, so that you're not going to be catching on things. And so, yeah, I know I can talk about these things all day long. Sorry, I tend to go off.
So the new version that's coming out is actually not what you're holding there, but we're getting an all black version.
You're right. I'm not even holding the all black version. This is the only one I had on me. But yes, when you start blackening all the components, you know, it does add cost and complication, but it is certainly going to be fitting for a knife like this to have an all black version. And we try to blacken as much of it as we can.
Plus LC200N steel.
Yep.
Gotta
it's
love
gonna,
it.
you know, it's when you need it, it's not gonna fail. It's gonna be there for both edge, spring, everything you need.
Fantastic. It's a very, very cool knife. I'm looking forward to getting my hands on the new version as well.
Yeah, again, it's been fun to carry. All these knives I carry, I'm sure you know that, and this is just such a pleasure to carry.
Excellent, excellent. Well, Eric, man, thanks so much for taking us through all these new knives. Yeah, man, really appreciate your time on these.
Yeah, I appreciate you taking the time, and I hope that people like them and they perform like people want. And thanks for taking the time to listen to me.
Absolutely, and I hope we'll actually get to see each other in person, maybe at SHOT Show, depending on what happens there.
I sure hope so. Yep, that's my hope. So,
all right, everybody.
Until next time, David.
Thanks, Eric, man. Hey, Thanks everyone for sticking around. Thanks for checking out this interview with our good friends over there at Spyderco. If you want to get your hands on any of these knives, they aren't available yet, but they are available for pre-order. So we will leave links below that'll take you over to theknifecenter.com. Eric, thanks so much, and thanks everyone for sticking around.
Thank you.